There's a truth they'll never tell you in school, at work, or even in family conversations. The world needs some people to be considered idiots. And the most disturbing part of all this is that maybe you yourself have been chosen to play that role without even knowing it. Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to thrive in mediocrity while others are crushed for trying to think differently? Let me take you to an uncomfortable place in human consciousness. From the moment we're born, we're taught that the world rewards intelligence, creativity, and critical thinking. They tell us that studying will set us free, that questioning will make us wise. But reality is radically different. Society, that great invisible machinery that governs our lives, functions precisely because there exists a hierarchy of knowledge and ignorance. It's no coincidence that some people are treated as wise while others are ridiculed. It's by design. Think about this for a moment. Every social system needs contrast to function. Light only exists because we know darkness. Success only has meaning because failure exists. And intelligence, that celebrated quality, can only be measured when its opposite exists. Here's the revelation that will change your perspective. It's not that the world is full of idiots by accident. It's that the system requires people to assume that role so others can feel superior, so that the social machinery continues turning without friction. Ancient philosophers already intuited this. Plato divided society in his ideal republic between philosophical guardians, warriors, and producers. Each had their function. But what Plato didn't say openly is that this division not only organized tasks, but also established who had the right to think and who simply had to obey. For centuries, power systems have refined this strategy until turning it into something so natural that we don't even question it. Observe your own environment. At your workplace, there's probably someone everyone considers the office fool. In your social circle, there's that person who always asks the obvious questions, who doesn't catch the ironies, who says what everyone's thinking but no one dares to express. Have you noticed how that person's existence makes everyone else feel a little more intelligent, a little more competent? That person is fulfilling a crucial social function, though involuntary. But here comes something even more unsettling. What if I told you that you yourself might be playing that role in some contexts without even realizing it? We're all someone's idiot. We all have areas where our ignorance serves to make others shine. And this isn't a defect of the system. It's its most fundamental feature. Social psychology teaches us about illusory superiority bias, that phenomenon where most people consider themselves above average in intelligence, ability, or morality. Mathematically impossible, but psychologically necessary. For you to feel intelligent, someone else must be perceived as less capable. It's a zero-sum game of collective self-esteem. Society knows this and exploits it masterfully. Now stop and think about your own life. How many times have you felt like you were being treated as if you didn't understand something obvious? How many times have things you already knew been explained to you in a condescending tone? And how many times have you done exactly the same thing to another person? We all participate in this theater of relative intelligence, alternating roles without being conscious of the script we're following. The entertainment industry has perfected this mechanism. Reality shows thrive by showing people making questionable decisions, so viewers at home feel superior. Social media allows us to point out others' mistakes with a simple click, momentarily elevating our sense of moral or intellectual superiority. Every like we give to a mocking comment is a vote to maintain this invisible hierarchy. But there's a deeper dimension that few people dare to explore. The need for idiots isn't just social, it's economic and political. Power systems function better when there exists a mass of people who don't question too much, who accept official narratives, who consume without reflecting. It's not conspiracy, it's simple social mechanics. A completely critical and reflective population would be impossible to govern, impossible to sell to, impossible to control. If this idea already resonates with you, imagine what comes next. Subscribe so you don't miss this journey toward a deeper understanding of how we function as a society and how you can free yourself from these invisible patterns. Let's now think about education, that sacred temple of knowledge. They tell us that educating is liberating, that knowledge is power. But look more closely at the modern educational system. Is it really designed to create critical thinkers or to produce obedient workers? Standardization, multiple choice exams, memorization without comprehension, everything points to an uncomfortable truth. The educational system needs to graduate different levels of competence to feed an economy that requires both managers and employees, both leaders and followers. And here's the cruelest twist. Even those who manage to stand out academically often discover they've been trained for a very specific type of intelligence, one that serves the system but rarely questions its foundations. True genius, the kind that revolutionizes paradigms, is frequently labeled as madness or idiocy in its time. Van Gogh died poor and considered a failure. Socrates was condemned to death for corrupting youth with his questions. Tesla died alone, while Edison is celebrated. History is full of supposed idiots who simply saw what others refused to see. This brings us to a devastating question. How sure are you that your own judgments about others' intelligence are correct? What if that person you consider limited simply operates under a different paradigm than yours? What if what you call intelligence is just disguised conformity? Buddhism has a profound teaching about this called beginner's mind. It suggests that true wisdom comes from recognizing our ignorance, from approaching each situation as if we knew nothing. In the expert's mind, there are few possibilities. In the beginner's mind, there are infinite ones. Perhaps the true sages are those whom society labels as simple because they haven't been corrupted by layers upon layers of social conditioning. Observe young children before formal education molds them. They ask questions that adults consider silly, but that are actually deeply philosophical. Why is the sky blue? May seem simple, but it leads to discussions about the physics of light, human perception, and the limits of language to describe experience. Children are considered ignorant, but their ignorance is free from the false certainties that limit adult thinking. Society needs you to accept your place in the hierarchy. It will reward you if you stay within the limits of your assigned role. If you're the intelligent one, they'll give you diplomas and titles. If you're the simple one, they'll give you jobs nobody else wants to do. But both are trapped in the same cage, just with bars of different material. The true idiot isn't who knows less, but who believes the classification system is real and meaningful. Here comes something that will change everything you thought you knew. There exists an even deeper secret that few know, a truth that power systems have worked tirelessly to keep hidden. The revelation is this: the division between intelligent and idiots is completely artificial, a social construction maintained through repetition and collective consensus. There is no objective metric of intelligence. IQ tests mainly measure the ability to solve IQ tests. University degrees certify that you completed a program, not that you understand reality. Corporate hierarchies reflect political ability, not necessarily competence. But the system needs you to believe in these distinctions, because without them, the entire edifice of social order would collapse. If we all woke up tomorrow knowing there's no fundamental difference between the CEO and the janitor beyond circumstances and opportunities, how would we justify the enormous inequalities of power and wealth? If we recognize that the professor isn't inherently wiser than the student, just has more years of exposure to certain information, how would we maintain educational authority? Society needs idiots because it needs heroes. It needs winners because it needs losers. It needs the illusion of meritocracy to justify inequality. And we all participate in this theater, alternating between being the judge and the judged, the sage and the fool, depending on the context. Nietzsche understood this when he spoke of the transvaluation of all values. He suggested we need to go beyond good and evil, beyond the categories society imposes on us. Applied to our topic, we need to go beyond intelligent and idiot, recognizing they're just masks we wear in the great social theater. Liberation comes when you stop identifying with any of these roles, when you can be called an idiot without your self-esteem being affected, when you can be considered intelligent without your ego inflating, when you understand that all these labels are passing clouds in the vast sky of your true nature. Here's the final paradox that will leave you thinking. The true sages throughout history have been those willing to appear foolish. Socrates said, "I only know that I know nothing." Zen masters strike their students when they give answers that are too intelligent. Christian saints embraced foolishness for Christ. They all understood that true wisdom begins when you stop worrying about appearing wise. Society needs idiots because it needs order. But you don't need to be either the system's idiot or sage. You can be something completely different. You can be free. Free from classifications, free from hierarchies, free from the need to prove your worth through degrading others. Look around with new eyes. Every person you've judged, every moment you've felt superior or inferior, every time you've participated in the game of labeling and classifying, you've been sustaining the system. But you also have the power to let it fall, not with violent revolution, but with the simple refusal to keep playing. The next time someone treats you like an idiot, smile internally knowing they're trapped in an illusion. The next time you feel tempted to mock someone's ignorance, remember you're only perpetuating the cycle. True intelligence isn't knowing more than others. It's recognizing the shared humanity that transcends all categories. This is the truth the world doesn't want you to discover. You are infinitely more than any label society puts on you. You are neither intelligent nor an idiot. You are consciousness experiencing existence, and that's enough. That has always been enough. If this message resonated within you, if you felt something shift in your way of seeing the world, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like it, so more people can free themselves from these invisible chains. Subscribe, because this is just the beginning of a journey toward a deeper understanding of who we really are. And leave me a comment telling me what label you've carried for too long and are ready to release. Together we can awaken from this collective dream and remember our true nature.